Well, why is improving education so important to you?
Well, education is what gives opportunity to people. It's where they can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And it's always been true, but it's still true today, that for a young person to have a chance at a real good future, he or she must have a good education. And of course it comes down to whether we provide the opportunity for them to have that education.
And then when it comes to young people,
well, I think we're always trying to make a better life for our people. We're trying to be sure that the kind of prosperity that we have now, that it continues on into the future, and the way to get there is for people to have a good base of education. It's the basis on which they can build their lives.
Still on education, within education, are there any examples in your family or among people you know that sort of illustrate to you why education is so critical?
I learned this in the earliest memories of my life, living with two Ozark school teachers, and they were very committed to giving young people a good education, giving them opportunity. That's the way they saw it, and they followed up on that by reaching out to be sure that kids got into school, that they could stay in school, that they could perform well in school. If the kid lived out beyond the bus line, why they did have some of the young people stay in our home during the week so they could go to high school. When they found that kids were hungry and were not going to be able to learn, they started a hot lunch program. They continued teaching even when in the Depression, when they got paid with warrants. And that was just promises to pay whenever the school district got the money. My folks didn't give up. They kept on working because they believed in the value of education, and that's really the thing that would pull people up. And it was their own experience as well.
Did they ever say anything to you about education? I mean, did they ever have to get on you when you were, like any other kid, there were days where
well, I'm sure they did to an extent, but you certainly knew in their family that they thought getting an education was awfully important. And I don't remember a whole lot of that being talk. It was more from observation, because all the things they did and all the pride that they had in former students. They had been teaching a long time by the time I came along, and they always were running into former students that were recounting their successes, and they reveled in those successes just as though they were their own kids.
And then your grandkids, have they started school yet?
Yeah, they're in the 1st and the 5th grade.
And how are they doing in school?
Well, they're doing well in school. They seem to like school, and they're learning very quickly. I'm very pleased at how well they read. Both the 5th graders are a consummate reader. The 1st graders coming along very well with his reading, and I think that's really a key to them being able to learn other subjects, is if they do learn to read well.
And do you feel like that you and your wife passed along the value of education that you learned from your parents? Do you think that your kids picked that up from you? I mean, have they?
Well, we didn't have to urge them to go on to college, and they all went 7 years, we didn't have to explain to them the need for that or anything else. When our youngest son took a semester off during college, we were a little worried about it, afraid he wouldn't go back. And when he saw that we were worrying about him, and he told his mother, "Don't worry, Mom, I love school. I could go to school the rest of my life. I'll get back to school." As soon as he uttered the words "go to school the rest of his life," when he already was on a 7-year program, we let up, and we guessed that he would come back after the semester, and he would finish, and he did, and so there wasn't much doubt about it.